Look at this place. For most of us, Antarctica is just a vast, blank space at the bottom of the map. It's the definition of isolation. It is the coldest, the driest, the windiest continent on Earth. It holds 90% of the world's ice, and if it all melted, sea levels would rise by nearly 60 meters. A catastrophic number. We've sent explorers, researchers, and machines there. We've drilled down miles into the ice. We think we've mapped it, studied it, and understand it. But beneath that blinding white surface, under crushing layers of ice that have been accumulating for millions of years, Antarctica is hiding secrets. Not just geological facts, but deep, mind-bending mysteries that science is still struggling to explain. I'm talking about places like an enormous ancient lake sealed off from the world for 25 million years, a deep-sea ecosystem that's never felt the sun. I'm talking about strange, gravity-defying signals detected by sensors looking up into the sky. And I'm talking about geological evidence that suggests this frozen wasteland was once home to lush, impossible rainforests. These aren't theories from fringe websites. These are genuine, baffling anomalies discovered by top scientists. They challenge our knowledge of physics, life, climate, and perhaps even the true timeline of human history. In this video, we're counting down 10 hidden secrets of Antarctica that still baffle scientists. Get ready to look at that blank space on the map and realize it is the most mysterious, the most important, and the most compelling frontier left on Earth. Trust me, what's hiding under the ice will change the way you see the world. Let's start deep below the ice, with perhaps the most famous and compelling secret of all, Lake Vostok. Imagine taking the world's greatest freshwater sea, Lake Baikal in Russia, and burying it. That's Vostok. It's absolutely massive. 250 kilometers long, 50 kilometers wide, covering an area larger than Lake Ontario. And here's the mind-bending part. It sits beneath nearly 4 kilometers of solid Antarctic ice. That's 12,000 feet of pressure, darkness, and isolation. How is it liquid? A combination of geothermal heat from the Earth's core below and the incredible insulating power and pressure of the ice above. It's been completely sealed off from the Earth's surface and atmosphere for an estimated 15 to 25 million years. Just try to wrap your mind around that time frame. When Vostok was sealed, hominids had barely even emerged in Africa. It is a time capsule of epic geologic proportions. The moment scientists confirmed its existence using radar was like discovering a hidden continent. But the big mystery isn't how it exists. It's what lives in it. This lake is an extreme environment. The water at the bottom is under immense pressure, and paradoxically, due to the ice melting and freezing cycles, the lake water near the top is supersaturated with oxygen, 50 times more than typical freshwater. Any life down there has evolved in total darkness. In sub-zero water temperatures, under crushing pressure, and within that bizarre chemical soup. When Russian and American teams finally drilled down through the ice, they found ancient water, and in that water, they found DNA. They found bacteria and microbes that they couldn't immediately identify, strains that are unlike anything we have cataloged on the surface world. The problem, the huge ethical dilemma, is the drilling itself. Every step closer we take is a risk. Do we contaminate this pristine, ancient ecosystem with our modern equipment and samples? Or do we risk losing a biological blueprint that could fundamentally reshape our understanding of how life thrives? Vostok is our closest analog to the subsurface oceans of icy moons like Europa or Enceladus. It is a frozen window into the deep past and perhaps a signpost for the future of astrobiology. And that, right there, is why Lake Vostok remains the ultimate cryptic secret. If Lake Vostok is Antarctica's hidden heart, then Blood Falls is its shocking, mysterious wound. Imagine you're trekking across the vast white canvas of Taylor Glacier in Victoria Land, and suddenly you encounter a waterfall. But this waterfall isn't crystal blue. It's a deep, vibrant, almost unsettling red. It looks exactly like blood gushing out of the glacier's frozen face. It's beautiful, but profoundly unsettling. This isn't Hollywood, and it's definitely not blood. The red color comes from iron oxide, essentially rust. But the mystery here goes far beyond just a chemical reaction. This rusty brine flows from a source that has been trapped beneath a 400-meter layer of ice for an estimated 1.5 to 2 million years. Like Vostok, it's completely sealed off, an isolated aquatic time capsule. The brine itself is twice as salty as seawater and is moving through a dark subglacial network of fissures and channels. But here is where the science gets truly fascinating. Because inside that ancient, isolated subglacial reservoir, there is life. Scientists have found a unique community of bacteria living in this extreme environment. They survive without sunlight, without oxygen, and they have adapted to consume chemical elements in the water. Instead of photosynthesis or breathing oxygen like us, these extremophiles use the brine's trapped sulfates and iron compounds, literally breathing iron. Think about that for a second. For 2 million years, these organisms have perfected the art of living in total, cold darkness, drawing their energy from the very rocks and rust around them. The discovery of this iron-breathing ecosystem stunned astrobiologists. Bloodfalls isn't just a quirky Antarctic phenomenon, it is an active, open-air laboratory for the search for life elsewhere. If life can thrive for millennia in this subglacial Martian environment right here on Earth, what does that tell us about the potential for life deep beneath the icy crusts of moons like Europa or even ancient Mars? Bloodfalls proves that life, when given the smallest chance, will adapt and endure in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. And that vivid, unsettling red waterfall is the brilliant, rusty beacon of an entire hidden biosphere. We're stepping away from the ice and focusing on the air above it because the next great mystery of Antarctica is held in its sky, the curious persistence of the ozone hole. For a generation, this was the defining environmental crisis. We learned that man-made chemicals, chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, were rising into the stratosphere and destroying the ozone layer, our planet's natural sunscreen. We acted decisively, banning CFCs through the Montreal Protocol, a monumental global success. The hole should be shrinking back to normal. And while the ozone layer is slowly healing over the rest of the planet, over Antarctica, the recovery is erratic and bafflingly slow. Why? Why does this continent remain the epicenter of atmospheric damage decades after we cleaned up our act? The answer lies in the terrifying uniqueness of the Antarctic atmosphere. Every winter, the air above the continent forms a massive, powerful vortex, a sort of atmospheric wall called the polar vortex. This vortex locks the supercold air in over the South Pole, and when temperatures drop below -78 degrees Celsius, something strange happens. Polar stratospheric clouds form. These aren't normal clouds, they are icy chemical catalysts. These unique icy clouds provide the perfect surface for the banned chlorine and bromine compounds, which are still floating around in the atmosphere, to react. They effectively accelerate the ozone destruction process, like a planetary chemistry lab gone rogue. The persistence mystery is tied directly to climate change. Scientists are baffled by the unpredictable strength and stability of this polar vortex. Ironically, while the surface of the planet is warming, the stratosphere over Antarctica is actually cooling down, potentially making those ozone-killing clouds more widespread and more effective. The ozone hole is not just a scientific curiosity, it's a profound warning. It shows us that even after taking the right global action, the Earth system, especially the uniquely extreme system of Antarctica, can hold on to our mistakes for generations. The continent's isolated atmosphere is keeping a chemical secret, ensuring that the legacy of our pollution continues to play out year after destructive year. Our next secret takes us not beneath the ice, but back in time, to the year 1513. This is decades before the invention of the accurate chronometer, centuries before global satellite mapping, and millennia before anyone truly explored the frigid south. In that year, a renowned Ottoman admiral and cartographer named Piri Reis compiled a world map. It was an impressive document, accurate for its time, showing the coasts of the Americas and Africa. But there's a section on the bottom edge that has confounded historians, geographers, and even the U.S. Air Force, the coastline of a mysterious landmass far to the south. Many believe this landmass is Antarctica. Now that alone is strange. given that Antarctica was officially discovered hundreds of years later. But here's the anomaly that chills researchers to the bone. The map doesn't show Antarctica encased in ice. It shows a coastline with topographical details, rivers and inlets, suggesting a landmass that is ice-free. Geological evidence confirms that the last time that specific part of the Antarctic coast, Queen Maud Land, was entirely free of its ice sheet was roughly 6,000 years ago, or perhaps even earlier, during a major warming period. So, the question becomes an archaeological time paradox. How did Piri Reis in the early 16th century draw a map of Antarctica as it existed 6,000 years ago? The scientific community is fiercely divided. Mainstream historians argue it's a brilliant but lucky misinterpretation. Perhaps Reis accidentally mixed different map sources, including speculative southern continents. But the anomaly fuels a persistent, exciting theory that there must have been a highly advanced, ancient, seafaring civilization that possessed the technology and cartographic knowledge to accurately chart the Earth's continents before they were covered by ice. A civilization lost to history, whose knowledge somehow survived the millennia and ended up in Reis's hands. Whether it's a stunning coincidence or evidence of a lost advanced civilization, the Piri Reis map forces us to confront a possibility that is staggering. That our understanding of Earth's history and the timeline of human achievement is fundamentally flawed. It's a whisper from the deep past, suggesting that even our newest, most remote continent might hold the key to an ancient, impossible truth. If Lake Vostok is an isolated tank of ancient water, then our sixth secret reveals that the entire continent is actually alive with movement. We're talking about Antarctica's hidden, dynamic, subglacial rivers. For decades, we pictured the Antarctic ice sheet as a frozen, static giant, just a massive block of ice resting on cold, dry bedrock. But modern satellite radar and seismic imaging have completely shattered that old assumption. We now know that miles beneath the surface, there is a continent-wide plumbing system. It's a vast, hidden hydrosphere of constantly forming and draining rivers, streams, and lakes. We've identified over 400 of these subglacial lakes so far, and almost all of them are interconnected by powerful, flowing water channels. But here's the baffling part. This water isn't just sitting there. It's moving. Scientists have watched, in real time via satellite, as entire lakes deep under the ice drain in a matter of weeks, sending a massive pulse of water through the network to refill another lake hundreds of miles away. How does it stay liquid in the coldest place on Earth? It's a perfect storm of physics. Geothermal heat rising from the Earth's core, and the staggering pressure of the ice above, which lowers the freezing point of water. This subglacial plumbing is more than just a geographic marvel. It's a global climate trigger. This water acts as a high-pressure lubricant. When these rivers pulse, they reduce the friction between the ice sheet and the bedrock. It's like putting the entire glacier on a slip and slide. This causes the massive ice streams to accelerate their march toward the ocean. Every time a subglacial lake drains, it's like the continent is greasing its own tracks to shed ice faster. Understanding this hidden, pulsing machine is no longer just a curiosity. It's the only way we can accurately predict how fast our own sea levels will rise. Antarctica isn't just a block of ice. It's a hydraulic engine, and we are only just beginning to see how it works. Close your eyes for a second and forget everything you know about Antarctica. Forget the ice, the blizzards, and the -60-degree winds. Instead, imagine a thick, humid, steaming tropical rainforest. I know it sounds like science fiction, but this is the staggering reality of our fifth secret. Somewhere around 52 million years ago, during a period called the Eocene, Antarctica looked more like modern-day New Zealand, or even parts of South America. Scientists drilling deep into the seabed off the Antarctic coast have pulled up something impossible: fossilized pollen, spores, and root systems from palms, ferns, and towering trees. The evidence is undeniable. Antarctica was once lush, green, and vibrant. In fact, research suggests that during the summer, coastal temperatures could have soared above 20 degrees Celsius. You could have walked along an Antarctic beach in a t-shirt. But here's the mystery that leaves botanists completely baffled. Even back then, Antarctica was still located at the South Pole. This means that for 6 months every year, the entire continent was plunged into total pitch-black darkness. The sun never rose. Think about that. How did a complex, lush rainforest which relies entirely on sunlight for photosynthesis survive half a year in the dark? On any other part of the planet, these plants would have withered and died in weeks. Did they drop their leaves and go into a deep evolutionary hibernation? Or did they possess a biological superpower to store energy that we simply don't understand today? This isn't just a cool history lesson. It's a humbling reminder of how radical our planet can change. It shows us that under the right CO2 conditions, the Earth can flip from a frozen wasteland to a tropical paradise. Antarctica is a silent witness to the planet's extreme volatility, proving that the difference between miles of ice and a jungle canopy is just a few degrees of global temperature. Our previous secrets dealt with things we can touch: ice, water, and fossils. But this next mystery is invisible. We only know it's there because the Earth itself feels a strange tug. This is the mystery of Antarctica's gravity anomalies. To understand this, you have to realize that gravity isn't the same everywhere. It changes depending on how much mass is beneath your feet. Since 2002, NASA's GRACE satellites have been orbiting the Earth, acting like a giant cosmic scale to weigh the continent from space. And what they found in Antarctica is, well, it's bizarre. When you look at a gravity map of the continent, it's not smooth. It's covered in hot spots, areas where the gravitational pull is much stronger or much weaker than it should be. Now, most of this is caused by the thickness of the ice. More ice equals more mass, which equals more gravity. But here's the kicker. Even after scientists subtract the weight of all that ice, there are still massive blobs of high gravity in the bedrock that shouldn't be there. One of the most famous is in Wilkes Land. Deep beneath the ice, there is a massive gravitational anomaly about 300 miles wide. What could be so heavy and so dense that it changes the gravity of the entire region? Some scientists believe it's a masscon, a massive concentration of mass caused by a gigantic meteorite impact millions of years ago. We're talking about an asteroid twice the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs. If that's true, the ghost of that impact is still sitting there, buried under 2 miles of ice. Others suggest these anomalies are massive plumes of volcanic rock or ancient, heavy crustal plates from a lost continent. The truth is, because the ice is so thick, we are essentially looking at a blurry X-ray. We know something massive is down there, lurking in the dark, but we still don't know exactly what it is. It's a reminder that Antarctica isn't just a layer of ice. It's a geological jigsaw puzzle with some very heavy pieces missing. Up until now, we've talked about things hidden deep in the past. But our third secret is happening right now, and it's happening much faster than anyone predicted. We are talking about the sudden, catastrophic calving of Antarctica's massive ice shelves. Think of an ice shelf as a giant cork in a wine bottle. These massive platforms of floating ice reach out from the land and hold back the glaciers behind them. As long as the cork is in place, the inland ice stays put. But recently, those corks have been popping at a terrifying rate. The mystery isn't that they are breaking, it's how they are breaking. In 2002, the Larsen B ice shelf, a massive structure that had been stable for over 10,000 years, didn't just melt, it shattered. It lost an area of 1,200 square miles in just 35 days. To put that in perspective, that's like an area the size of Rhode Island disintegrating into billions of ice cubes in a single month. Scientists were stunned. Their models said this should take centuries. So, what is the secret trigger? The mystery leads us to a process called hydrofracturing. During the short summer, meltwater pools on the surface of the ice. That water seeps into tiny cracks, and because water is denser than ice, it acts like a hydraulic wedge, driving the cracks all the way to the bottom until the entire shelf explodes from the inside out. But there's a second, hidden culprit: warm, deep ocean currents. While we look at the melting surface, warm water is eating away at the grounding line, the invisible point where the ice meets the rock underwater. It's a dual attack from above and below that is destabilizing the entire continent. Every time one of these shelves collapses, the glaciers behind it accelerate toward the sea like a car that just lost its brakes. We are watching the Ice King of the South lose its armor, and the speed of this transformation is the most urgent mystery scientists are racing to solve. Because what happens to these ice shelves today determines the sea level of our world tomorrow. Now, we move from the laws of physics to the boundaries of human history. This is the one secret that mainstream science is terrified to talk about, but the evidence keeps popping up. It's the hypothesis of a lost ancient civilization in Antarctica, and it centers around what researchers call the geological smoking gun. Think about everything we've covered. We know that under the ice, there is a complex landscape of rivers and mountains. We know that just a few million years ago, this was a temperate paradise with lush rainforests. So here's the question that keeps alternative historians awake at night. If the environment was perfect for life, why couldn't it have been perfect for humans? The smoking gun isn't just the Piri Reis map we discussed earlier. It's the discovery of strange, symmetrical structures visible in satellite imagery. Deep in the Shackleton mountain range, and in other remote corners of the continent, some claim to see the weathered outlines of massive triangular shapes, what many believe are buried pyramids. Geologists argue these are just nunataks, natural mountain peaks shaped by wind and ice. But proponents of the lost civilization theory point to their near-perfect geometry. They ask, could these be the ruins of a pre-glacial society that flourished when the South Pole was green? Think about the implications. If a civilization existed here before the ice sheet formed roughly 34 million years ago, or even during a more recent melting period, it would rewrite every single history book on Earth. We are talking about a society that could have been older than the Sumerians, the Egyptians, or the Mayans. Of course, without physical excavation, this remains a theory. The ice is a 2-mile-thick vault, keeping whatever ruins might be down there perfectly preserved, but also perfectly hidden. Is Antarctica just a frozen desert? Or is it a massive graveyard for a forgotten chapter of the human story? The smoking gun is there, etched into the bedrock, waiting for the day the ice finally reveals the truth. We've reached the #1 secret of Antarctica. And this time, the mystery isn't hidden in the ice or the past, it's coming from the very fabric of our universe. This is the story of Anita, and a signal that shouldn't exist. Anita stands for the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna. It's a high-tech NASA experiment, a massive array of radio antennas attached to a giant balloon floating 120,000 feet above the frozen continent. Its job is simple: to listen for ghost particles from deep space called high-energy neutrinos. Normally, these particles rain down from the sky, but in 2006 and 2014, Anita detected something that left physicists speechless. It picked up a signal of high-energy particles traveling upward, coming directly out of the Earth itself. Now you might think, so what? But in the world of physics, this is like seeing a glass of water fall upward. High-energy neutrinos are so large that they should be stopped cold by the solid mass of our planet. The chance of one passing through the entire Earth and coming out the other side is essentially zero. Yet, Anita saw it, not once, but twice. The scientific community scrambled for an answer. Was it a glitch? A reflection? After years of checking, the data held firm. This was a real, impossible event. The theories to explain this are like something out of a Marvel movie. Some physicists suggest we are seeing evidence of a parallel universe. One that was created at the Big Bang, but runs backward in time. In that universe, what looks like an upward particle to us is actually a downward particle to them. Others believe we've discovered a brand new type of matter, or a dark matter particle, that doesn't follow the rules of our current physics. Whatever the truth is, the frozen desert of Antarctica has become the only place on Earth where we can glimpse these glitches in reality. The Anita signal isn't just a mystery. It's a whisper from a world we don't yet understand. A secret that proves that even our most advanced science is only scratching the surface of what's truly out there. We've traveled from the mysterious signals of Anita to the ancient frozen rainforests and the impossible maps of the past. But after exploring these 10 secrets, one truth stands taller than any ice sheet. Antarctica is not just a frozen wasteland at the bottom of the world. It is the silent heartbeat of our planet. Why do these secrets matter? Because the ice we've been discussing is more than just frozen water. It is a massive, planetary time capsule. When we study the subglacial rivers or the calving ice shelves, we aren't just looking at cold geology. We are looking at the future of our own coastal cities. The stability of the ice in Antarctica dictates the sea level in New York, London, and Tokyo. To ignore these secrets is to ignore the early warning system of Earth itself. Furthermore, the ancient rainforests and the microbes of Lake Vostok prove that life is far more resilient and radical than we ever imagined. They teach us that our planet is a living, breathing system capable of extreme shifts. By unlocking the genetic codes hidden in the ice, we aren't just learning about our past, we are preparing for life on other worlds, like the frozen moons of Jupiter or Mars. But perhaps the greatest secret of all is what Antarctica represents for us as a species. It is the only place on Earth dedicated entirely to peace and science. It is a reminder that when we stop fighting over borders and start looking beneath the surface, we find answers to the biggest questions of the cosmos. The unfrozen potential of this continent is now in our hands. As the ice continues to shift and reveal its hidden truths, we are forced to ask, are we ready for what we might find? While the icy depths of Antarctica continue to guard their frozen enigmas, our planet hides its secrets in more than just the cold. If we travel thousands of miles north, away from the glaciers and toward the sun-drenched shores of Australia, another mystery awaits, not buried in ice but submerged beneath the waves. Ancient landscapes that were once home to thriving cultures now lie silent on the ocean floor. Let's dive into the lost world of Australia's sunken Aboriginal cities. For thousands of years, history has been etched into stone and soil, telling stories of great empires rising from river valleys and ancient cities flourishing in sun-drenched landscapes. But what if the greatest human story isn't on land at all? What if it's hidden beneath the waves, swallowed by a rising sea? Imagine a world we no longer see. During the last ice age, the Earth was a very different place. Massive glaciers locked away trillions of gallons of water, and global sea levels were over 120 meters lower than they are today. That wasn't just a slight change, it was a monumental transformation. It exposed a colossal landmass, a forgotten continent that once connected Australia to New Guinea and Tasmania. This was the Sahel Shelf, a vast, fertile plain twice the size of modern-day France. For over 65,000 years, this was home to the world's oldest continuous culture, the Aboriginal people. They didn't just survive on this land, they thrived. They built communities, hunted, fished, and created a complex society on what is now the ocean floor. They lived on coastlines that are now hundreds of kilometers out to sea. But then, the world began to change. Around 18,000 years ago, the ice started to melt, slowly at first, then with terrifying speed. Over the next several thousand years, the oceans began their relentless march inland. This wasn't a sudden, Hollywood-style tidal wave. It was a slow, inexorable flood that swallowed entire worlds. Shorelines retreated by over 100 kilometers, and with every meter the water rose, another part of this ancient land disappeared forever. Ancient stories passed down through generations of Aboriginal elders speak of this great inundation. Tales of ancestral lands, sacred sites, and entire communities being lost to the sea. For a long time, these stories were dismissed as myth, beautiful legends of a forgotten time. But now science is proving them to be true. Researchers are finding compelling evidence, not just of a coastline, but of a lost world. We're not just looking for a few scattered artifacts. We're searching for the echoes of an entire civilization, perfectly preserved at the bottom of the ocean. This is a story that will challenge everything you thought you knew about ancient history. and forever change how we see our world. For generations, the stories were dismissed as myth, tales passed down from elders about a time before the sea. They spoke of ancestral lands now beneath the waves, of sacred places submerged in the deep. But what if those stories weren't just beautiful legends? What if they were maps to a forgotten world? Today, a new generation of scientists, archaeologists, and geologists is finally listening. They're not just relying on old maps or dusty records. They're turning to the most advanced technology we have. Imagine a research vessel, gliding silently over the ocean's surface. Beneath it, a single beam of sound, a sonar pulse, is mapping the seabed with incredible precision. They're looking for anomalies, for structures that don't belong, for geometric patterns that nature could never have created. And they are finding them. In a recent expedition off the coast of Australia's Kimberley region, a team led by archaeologist Jonathan Benjamin made a groundbreaking discovery. Using high-resolution sonar, they identified a series of submerged rock formations that looked eerily intentional. These weren't random boulders. They were arranged in a precise pattern that resembled ancient fish traps, a technology still used by Aboriginal communities today, which harnesses the tidal flow to catch fish. The formations were exactly where oral traditions had said they would be. This wasn't just a coincidence. It was a powerful link between a living culture and a lost past. Think about that for a moment. A tradition passed down for thousands of years, now confirmed by a high-tech sound pulse. It's a profound validation of the world's oldest continuous culture. The discoveries don't stop there. Just a few years ago, off the coast of northern Australia, marine archaeologists uncovered what they believed to be a vast freshwater basin and a series of submerged islands that were once a critical hub of life. This area, now 50 meters below the surface, was a haven for plants, animals, and, of course, people. They found scattered stone tools and fragments of rock art on the seabed, irrefutable proof that this was once a thriving human landscape. These tools, these scattered rocks, they are more than just artifacts. They are fingerprints left by a society that faced one of the most significant environmental crises in human history. But the real story isn't just about what was lost. It's about how they adapted. How did they survive as their world slowly drowned? They didn't just retreat. They evolved. They became master mariners, adapting to a new world defined by the sea. Their knowledge of tides, currents, and marine life became their new way of life. The very thing that took their land, the ocean, became the source of their survival and prosperity. This profound story of resilience is etched into the very DNA of their culture. The science behind this is fascinating. Geologists are studying sediment cores, analyzing pollen and ancient plant life to reconstruct the prehistoric environment. They are finding traces of riverbeds that once flowed across dry land, now silent beneath the waves. Geneticists are tracing the lineage of Aboriginal populations, finding connections that point to a shared history on a landmass that no longer exists. They're revealing that the genetic diversity of Australia's Indigenous peoples holds secrets to ancient migration patterns and population movements, confirming that their journey on this continent was far more complex and dynamic than previously believed. But the most incredible evidence comes not from a lab, but from the people themselves. For thousands of years, Aboriginal communities along the coast have shared stories of their ancestors' journey. They tell of a time when the sea was far away and their people lived in places that are now just a memory. They describe the landscape, its rivers, its hills, its sacred sites, with breathtaking accuracy, as if they had just walked it yesterday. These aren't just myths, they are oral maps, a cultural GPS passed from one generation to the next. This new collaboration between science and Indigenous knowledge is unlocking a new chapter in human history. It's a respectful partnership that recognizes that some of the greatest scientific data in the world isn't in a textbook, but in the heart of a culture that has preserved it for millennia. We're not just finding lost cities, we're rediscovering a lost part of humanity's story, one that was always there, waiting for us to listen. It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just about what happened on land, but also about what was buried beneath the vast blue expanse of our oceans. For centuries, our imaginations have been captivated by lost cities like Atlantis, mythical places of advanced technology and breathtaking architecture swallowed by the sea. But what if the truth is far more profound? What if the Atlantis we are discovering isn't a single monolithic city, but a network of thriving settlements, a sophisticated society built not from marble, but from stone, rock, and an intimate connection to the land? We've seen the evidence, the sonar maps, the scattered tools, the oral histories. Now it's time to dive deeper. Let's go beyond the fragments and imagine what a full-fledged sunken Aboriginal settlement would actually look like. Picture this. We descend through the turquoise water. The sun's light filters down, illuminating a world transformed. What we see isn't just a random collection of rocks. It's a landscape of purpose. Imagine the remains of stone houses, built in clusters along a now submerged riverbed. These weren't grand palaces, but they were perfectly adapted to their environment, shelters from the elements, built with knowledge passed down for generations. Now follow that ancient riverbed. We come to a larger, more open area. The seafloor here is different. It's laid out in a deliberate, circular pattern. This is a ceremonial ground, a gathering place where rituals were performed, stories were told, and communities came together. Maybe the engravings on these stones tell a story of the stars or a creation myth lost to time. These are the spiritual heartbeats of a culture that once thrived here. And look beyond that. Scattered across the flat plains are intricate man-made structures, the remains of vast stone-walled fish traps. These weren't just simple nets. They were monumental engineering projects, designed to channel the tides and trap fish for an entire community. This isn't just about survival. It's about a sophisticated understanding of marine ecology and tidal dynamics. This level of planning and communal effort speaks to a highly organized and advanced society. These cities weren't just places to live. They were living ecosystems of culture, knowledge, and community. They prove that complex societies didn't need towering stone walls or vast road networks to be considered advanced. Their advancement was in their profound connection to the land and their ability to adapt and thrive. This discovery fundamentally challenges the Western-centric view of what constitutes a civilization. It proves that a society can be complex, sophisticated, and innovative without conforming to our traditional definitions. For the Aboriginal people, these discoveries are far more than just archaeological finds. They are a tangible link to a sacred past. The oral histories, once thought to be metaphors, are now revealed as literal maps to their ancestral homelands. This is an emotional and spiritual homecoming, a reconnection to a history that was feared to be lost forever. It's a powerful validation for a culture that has endured for tens of thousands of years. But this journey into the deep isn't just for archaeologists. It requires a multidisciplinary approach. We need the expertise of marine scientists to understand the currents and the delicate ecosystems that now cover these sites. We need oceanographers to model the sea level rise and understand how the sites were submerged. And critically, we need indigenous knowledge holders to guide us, to interpret the findings, and to ensure that these sacred places are treated with the respect they deserve. This is a collaboration built on trust and mutual respect. The goal isn't just to unearth artifacts, it's to protect a cultural heritage that belongs to us all. The ocean floor isn't just a place for scientific research. It is a sacred library of human history, and we have only just begun to read its first chapter. We've journeyed back in time, explored a lost world, and imagined what it was like to live on a continent now hidden beneath the waves. But the story of Australia's sunken cities isn't just about discovery. It's about a race against time, a battle against nature, and a profound ethical dilemma. Underwater archaeology is one of the most difficult and dangerous fields of science. The ocean, while a perfect preserver, is also a harsh mistress. These sites, located hundreds of kilometers from shore and many meters deep, are often subject to powerful currents, low visibility, and the immense pressure of the deep. It takes a specialized team of divers, engineers, and scientists working with state-of-the-art technology like remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, to even begin to explore these sites. And the challenges aren't just technical. The ocean is constantly changing. Natural forces like erosion, powerful storms, and the gradual shifting of the seabed can destroy or bury these priceless historical records forever. Coral growth, while beautiful, can also engulf and obscure ancient structures, making them nearly impossible to study. It's an urgent mission to document these sites before they are lost to the forces of nature. But perhaps the biggest challenge of all isn't from the ocean, but from ourselves. The discovery of these sites raises critical questions. Should we excavate them? Should we recover artifacts? What are the ethical implications of disturbing a place that is not just an archaeological site, but a sacred ancestral homeland for the Aboriginal people? For generations, these places have been revered in oral tradition as sacred, resting places of spirits and the final home of their ancestors. They hold profound spiritual and cultural significance. Simply put, they are not just shipwrecks or ruins to be plundered for museums. They are the equivalent of sacred burial grounds or ancient temples. This is why the approach to these sites is being done with the utmost respect and collaboration. The goal is not about collecting souvenirs for a display case. It's about in situ preservation, studying and documenting the sites where they are without disturbing them. It's a respectful partnership between scientists and indigenous communities, where the communities are the ultimate custodians of their heritage. They have the final say on what, if anything, is recovered and how these stories are shared with the world. This collaborative approach is a new model for archaeology. It's a shift from a take and document mindset to one of preserve and respect. It acknowledges that the true value of these discoveries lies not just in the objects themselves, but in the knowledge and history they represent for a living culture. The urgent need to protect these locations is also a global concern. As climate change continues to cause sea levels to rise, more of the world's ancient coastal heritage is at risk. Australia's sunken cities are a powerful reminder of what was lost and a warning of what we stand to lose. They are a call to action for all of us to appreciate and protect the history that lies hidden beneath our oceans. The future of archaeology isn't just about digging, it's about listening. Listening to the ancient stories, listening to the ocean's silent whispers, and most importantly, listening to the voices of those who have been the guardians of this history for over 65,000 years. We stand at a crossroads of history. We've explored the echoes of a lost world, witnessed the incredible resilience of a people who adapted to an epic flood, and challenged our very definition of what makes a civilization. But the truth is, this is just the beginning. Imagine Australia's vast continental shelf, a sprawling landscape of over 2.5 million square kilometers, most of it unexplored. For every one discovery we have made, there are countless more waiting to be found. The technology we use today is only the first step. The future of discovery lies in a new generation of high-resolution seafloor mapping, autonomous underwater vehicles, and even deeper, more sophisticated archaeological techniques. This isn't just a mission for scientists. It's a monumental journey for all of humanity. These sunken cities are more than just ruins. They hold the potential to rewrite our entire understanding of human migration. For decades, our textbooks told a story of our ancestors traveling across land bridges, settling in a predictable, linear fashion. But the story of Australia's submerged continent suggests a far more dynamic and complex narrative. It shows us that early humans were not just surviving, they were thriving in complex coastal societies, adapting to a world that was in constant, dramatic flux. This evidence could change the timeline of human ingenuity and innovation forever. This is a powerful moment, not just for archaeologists, but for all of us who care about our shared past. These discoveries are a testament to the incredible depth of Indigenous Australian history, a history that has been continuously woven for over 65,000 years. They validate ancient oral traditions and provide a tangible, breathtaking connection to a sacred past. The story of Australia's sunken cities is not just a scientific finding. It is a profound cultural awakening, proving that a history once dismissed as myth is in fact a monumental reality. But this new chapter comes with a responsibility. The ocean, while preserving these sites, is also a constant threat to them. Rising sea levels, ocean acidification, and human activities like deep-sea trawling and resource extraction put these priceless historical libraries at risk. They are a warning, a glimpse of what we have lost, and a reminder of what we must protect. So, where do we go from here? This journey into the deep isn't just for a few specialized researchers, it's for all of us. This is your invitation to be a part of this unfolding story. We can support the research, we can advocate for the protection of these sites, and most importantly, we can learn. Learn about the rich, complex, and living history of the Aboriginal people. Read their stories, listen to their voices, and appreciate the depth of their connection to the land and the sea. The ocean guards secrets deeper than we can comprehend, but as we've seen, those secrets hold the key to an entire forgotten civilization. This isn't the end of a film. It's the start of an unprecedented journey. Let's dive in, listen closely, and help reveal the forgotten story that has been waiting for us, silently, beneath the waves. From the frozen mysteries of the Antarctic wasteland to the submerged ancient civilizations off the coast of Australia, one thing is clear. Our planet's history is far deeper and more complex than we ever imagined. As technology advances, we continue to peel back the layers of time, rediscovering worlds that were once thought lost forever. But how many more secrets are still waiting out there, hidden beneath the ice or deep under the sea? Perhaps the greatest discoveries are yet to come. Thank you for watching this journey through Earth's hidden wonders. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join us as we uncover more mysteries of our world. Until next time.